We want you to know.
This case has been discussed on this channel before, but now that we're back in the studio and things have settled down a bit, it's time to look at this case in a little more depth. So let's talk about the burning of Burning Man. Hi, I'm here to talk about an interesting case. This is a case that was sent in by a member of our community. If you want to submit a case to me, you can find instructions on my page. Also, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. It really helps me out. On September 2nd, 2023, a federal judge allowed several lawsuits against the Burning Man Project, the nonprofit organization that produces the annual Burning Man Festival, to go forward. The lawsuits allege that the project acted negligently and was liable for injuries and losses sustained by attendees of the festival in 2023. At least 2 class action lawsuits have been filed, one by John Meyer and the other by Alexander Yip. Both cases argue that the project failed to warn attendees adequately about severe storm risks, failed to provide sufficient infrastructure and facilities to cope with the storm, and failed to implement effective communication systems. They also claim that the project did not have appropriate medical services and that this resulted in medical emergencies going without assistance for long periods. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. Before we get into it, I want to say that I've looked into this case quite a bit, but I'm sure there's more information available. But the information that I have is pretty consistent between sources, so this video is based around that. Burning Man is an annual event held in the Black Rock Desert in northwest Nevada. It attracts anywhere between 70,000 and 80,000 participants every year. The event usually takes place in late August and early September and lasts for 8 days. The idea of the event is that participants can create a city out of nothing in the middle of the desert. In this city, there are works of art, temples, sculptures, stages, and the famous man effigy, which is burnt at the center of the event. The whole event is run according to 10 guiding principles that include things like radical inclusion, gifting, decommodification, and self-reliance. Unlike most music festivals, Burning Man doesn't feature big-name artists or corporate sponsors. Attendees pay around $400 for a ticket to attend the event. That might sound expensive, but when you consider that this price includes camping, parking, and basically everything else, it's not so bad. I'll quote now from an article in The Guardian called Burning Man, the world's largest participatory art festival. Participants arrive at the Black Rock Desert carrying everything that they need with them. There are no shops or restaurants on site. The closest shopping is 30 miles away. There is no water supply, no sewerage system, no trash collection. People must bring everything they need with them and take all their rubbish away. There are no official showers, toilets, or hand-washing facilities. People must carry all of those things with them. In the Black Rock Desert, temperatures can reach up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and drop to below freezing at night. It can also turn into a sea of mud. In 2023, the event saw record rainfall, which turned the desert floor into a thick layer of mud that prevented vehicles from moving and even made walking difficult. The mud also led to collapsed tents, damaged vehicles, and a number of medical issues. Now, this isn't unusual for Burning Man. In fact, it's just part of the experience. But the level of mud and rain experienced in 2023 was unprecedented. Tens of thousands of vehicles became stuck, and all roads in and out of the site were closed. The gates were shut for 4 days as the ground dried. This led to significant amounts of mud, fuel, and excrement being churned up and deposited across the sensitive desert floor, damaging the environment and leaving scars that are expected to remain for years. One attendee was quoted in an article saying, "People think of Burning Man as this beautiful thing, but it's actually a pretty harsh experience. You're on your own for everything." There were reports of an overwhelmed sewage system, which led to waste management becoming an issue. As a result, there were lines of people waiting to use portal toilets, which then became too full to use at all. Several deaths were recorded during the event, though it seems that only one was directly related to the mud. A missing person who died after experiencing acute drug-induced psychosis got stuck in the MUD and was unable to free themselves and ultimately succumbed to hypothermia. Now, here's where this case gets a bit more complicated. Burning Man isn't managed or operated by any single entity. The event is run by the Burning Man Project, which is a non-profit organization. The organization puts together the framework of the event, including the roads, vehicle entry checkpoints, and the basic infrastructure. However, the event itself is entirely volunteer-run. Tents, camps, workshops, food stalls, everything else are set up and operated by individual participants. This makes the event highly decentralized. The Burning Man Project has been criticized for their lack of planning and preparation for extreme weather. However, they point to their code of conduct, which reads, "Burning Man is a community of people who come together to create Black Rock City, and its temporary autonomous zone thrives through the radical self-reliance of its participants." In this spirit, Burning Man provides the space, infrastructure, and services necessary for individuals and groups to create, experience, and transform their playa into the world's largest participatory art installation. Each participant is responsible for his or her own health, well-being, and safety. So they are basically saying that it's up to the individuals to prepare for anything that can happen, including extreme weather. And since 2023 was not an unseasonable weather event, attendees should have been prepared. However, there are also claims that the Burning Man Project did not do enough to warn attendees of the coming storm. The National Weather Service issued warnings for the area 5 days before the storm hit. And some people have claimed that the warnings were misleading. An article in The Atlantic titled, "How Bad Was Burning Man This Year?" says, on the Tuesday before the storm, the National Weather Service forecast a 60% chance of rain on Wednesday, a 40% chance on Thursday, and a slight chance on Friday. On Wednesday, the Weather Service said that 3/4 of an inch of rain had already fallen and that another half inch was expected. But no one anticipated the deluge that would soon follow. By Thursday afternoon, 730 inches had already fallen, and the rain didn't stop until Sunday. So the question becomes, what is the Burning Man Project's liability here? Did they fail to warn participants adequately? Should they have implemented a lockdown earlier? Should they have provided better medical support? And ultimately, what are the long-term implications of this case for the Burning Man Project, for the future of the event, and for large gatherings in general? Now, I don't have the answers to these questions. This is a case that's still unfolding and will likely be litigated for years to come. But I think there's a few things we can learn from it. First, we live in a postmodern age where people expect constant freedom without any corresponding responsibility. The Burning Man case shows us what happens when people refuse to listen to warnings and prepare for extreme situations. Secondly, the case shows us the limitations of organizations like the Burning Man Project. For an event of this size to work, there needs to be clear lines of authority and responsibility. The fact that this event was run by volunteers meant that no one was accountable for what happened. And finally, the case shows us that no matter where we are never truly safe. Climate change is leading to more extreme weather events, and no matter how hard we try to escape it, we are always affected by it. But what do you think? What lessons do we learn from the burning of Burning Man? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.